Okay, so I guess we're ready to get started. And welcome to Three Spirits of IWMS, Past, Present, Future. Wonderful title. And actually, it says that Jeff would be here, but this is not Jeff. His name is Mike Habeeb, and I don't have a bio for him, so I'm going to let him introduce himself. Give him a warm welcome.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, so true story. Sunday night, I get a call from my boss saying, hey, I may need you to jump on a red eye and fly out to Columbus, Ohio, because, well, I broke my ankle. So I need you to step up and fill in for me. So bear with me today if you would. But I thought what I'd do is just kind of give you a quick overview of who I am, a snapshot on SpaceIQ, because we are the new players in the field. I promise this will not be a commercial on SpaceIQ, but just kind of to set the tone of who we are and where we're going. Then we'll jump into kind of an overview of how things have been changing in this world. Specifically, we'll talk about the evolution of IWMS and then what you can do moving forward to prepare for it, right? So who am I? I'm Mike Habeeb. I'm an enterprise sales director for SpaceIQ. My focus is higher education as well as enterprise accounts. I've got 15 years in the IWMS industry, so I've sold everything from Archibus to Tririga to Planon, even some of the newer things like iOffice and some of the older ones that don't even exist anymore like BricsNet. So I do have a lot of industry experience. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to stop me and ask me any questions you might want to know. Quick snapshot on SpaceIQ. So who is SpaceIQ? SpaceIQ is kind of the newest player in the IWMS real estate and space industry. So we're focused very much on space moves and real estate space with a focus on the two things, technology and then the data. So we provide a platform to, one, capture the data, and then two, to report on that data, so the analytics on the back end. We've been around for a few years now, Silicon Valley venture startup, so we're gaining ground traction very, very quickly. We have over 100 customers. Here's a quick snapshot, and that is the end of the SpaceIQ commercial. So a little bit, I thought I'd start with kind of how things have been evolving in the world, and then we'll jump in specifically to IWMS. But you know, things really have evolved over the years. You take a look at Brutus back in 1959 versus relative to today, some significant changes. I think you probably see the same thing with people's behaviors, right? So we've gone from sitting at home listening to records and LPs to, hey, I can walk around with my cool Walkman Discman thing, and now you can actually carry all your audio and whatever else on your phones or iPads. So behavioral changes have gone a long way over the years through technology development. Same thing with technology itself, right? Remember the days you have to sit at your desk and actually answer a phone or check voicemail? Then came along the BlackBerry. Oh boy, I have some freedom. I can actually get my phone calls, make calls, get my email. I don't even have to go in the office anymore. And then that kind of evolved. The next level was, wow, smartphones. Well, that's a pretty cool tool. That's going to be fun in my personal life, but is it really ever going to be a business tool? And now, I don't know about you guys, but I can't go anywhere if I don't have my phone with me, right? I can do everything on it. Everything I want to do at my desk, I can now do on my phone. So technology's developed a long way. Workplaces evolved as well. We've gone from assigned cubicles to, hey, I got a great idea. Let's open up the entire floor plan and make it so that everybody can hear everybody and see everybody, and just too much noise, right? So now we're kind of in that hybrid phase. We've got huddle spaces, we've got dedicated space, and we have agile workplaces. So it's evolving very, very quickly. Same thing with the university experience. You know, back in the day, it was strictly sit-down lectures, collect notes. And nowadays, it's all technology-driven, or a lot of it's technology-driven. And even the facilities to handle the type of people that are coming to universities these days have changed. You have to accommodate all of these things for the right people, right? So let's talk a little bit about the evolution of IWMS. So a couple of kind of high-level views, if you will, so macro trends. So data is everywhere, and there's more sources now than ever before, I think, in history, right? So you're pulling data from machines, from sensors, from everywhere, HR systems and everything else that you can think about out there. Then there's a trend of commercialization of software. How do we get this into everybody's hands? And then from there, the other trend is distributed. So how can I access this data from any device? And where can I access that data from? So those are kind of the macro trends that we're trying to solve for. When it comes specific to real estate space, IWMS, it's a complex situation, right? You've got real estate that's the second highest dollar amount on anybody's balance sheets, next to employees, of course. Those are very, very complex, whether it's from an IWMS perspective, it's facilities, it's real estate, it's space, it's sustainability. All of these different pieces have to fit into the puzzle. In addition to that, it's really dynamic because it's changing and evolving on a daily basis, really. So those are the kind of complex problems that we have to solve for. The challenge is with some of the older technologies that are out there is you don't have visibility into the data that you actually need. So when it comes to getting the correct reports at the correct times in an easy manner, you don't have that visibility. There's not been a lot of innovation in the last 30 years. Those older technologies were very focused on the back-end person, the person that's doing the day-to-day jobs, not necessarily the entire organization. With that comes challenges in getting the data to the right people at the right time. And then, of course, inefficient processes. So processes are relatively locked down in a lot of the systems that are out there today. If you do have one of the systems that's pretty flexible, you have to be careful because you can obviously back yourself into a corner when you develop those processes. And so what are the challenges, right? So again, limited access to relevant data. Real estate is the most costly thing that's out there. And then, of course, we have to solve for not only the back-end user, but the multi-generations that are coming into the workforce, whether that's students in the student union or whether that's people, workers in the facilities or faculty even, that want to have the ability to get data that they want to get. So this is probably seen people working in this way. You would be surprised at how often I go into organizations and they're still doing this, right? You see blueprints on the wall and even coffee stains. This is actually from a customer that I had spoken to. Coffee stains on the blueprints, and they're trying to figure out how do we restack this particular floor. So the challenges that I see in universities are pretty large. I mean, you have to worry about compliance. You have to understand what the utilization is. How do I see the data that I need to see and gain that visibility? Oh, and by the way, what about our students? They're the ones that are paying for a lot of the things that are going on in the organization or in the campuses. How do I give them the experience that they want? And how do I get them to come here and stay at our campus, right? So those are all very difficult things to solve for. So kind of the past, present, and future, if you will, what we see is, the older technology that's out there is very, very premise-based, back office focused, kind of that all-in-one type of a solution. Today we have a little bit better. It's more like the BlackBerry, where I can get my email, I can make my phone calls. It's a SaaS base. It's a little more intuitive to use. And gives a little bit better experience. But what we really see coming down the pipe is that more forward thinking, which is space really becoming that system of record, if you will. So space will be able to show you where an asset is that needs to be worked on. It'll show you where people are seated, obviously. What conference rooms are available real time, what huddle space is available real time. What's going on within the student union? Is it being utilized the way we think it should have been utilized based on the way we built it? So all of those types of things are going to be in that space planning and space tools, so you could easily and quickly visualize what's going on. And in addition to that, you bring in things like sensor technologies, which gives you real-time data. And then you talk about artificial intelligence. So coming in and doing a stack plan on a building and make that in an automated fashion, right? So give you suggestions on ways you might consider, based on your requirements, how a building might be stacked. That's what we see coming down the pipe pretty quickly. So this is kind of a quick snapshot of what an older system typically looks like. It's labeled as an IWMS system. You have that integration to ERP systems, and it's very all-in-one kind of a solution, right? So we have the space, maintenance, project management, all of those tools roll and run, and then some subsets underneath it. What we really think is coming down the pipe, and the way we look at a lot of the applications and the need for the applications is more like this. So you have your application layer, space moves, same things or similar things that were in the IWMS world, but you have a couple of extra layers, and those extra layers are really that artificial intelligence. So the predictive stacking and planning, or any other function that you might need to have out there. But I think the key to a lot of the systems that are coming out, whether it's ours or anybody else's, is kind of that bottom piece, the ability to integrate. Integration over time has always been a very big challenge. With the API layers and data stores that have been developed and can be developed, again, through technology, gives you a much better process to do plug-and-play functionality, right? So what is it that you guys should consider, or people should consider, when they're looking at a new system, and how do we go about doing this, right? So really, you need to develop and design the campus of your future, your campus, right? It's going to be individual, depending on what the university is focused on, who the people that they're focused on are associated to. So it's not going to be a one-size-fits-all for every campus or every university that's out there. It's very much individual focused. It might be, all of these pieces. It might be 3 or 4 pieces of this. So that's the first step, is really kind of understand what it is that you're trying to solve for, and then make a plan moving forward to solve that issue. Focus on the goals, whatever those goals are, right? Have that seamless application for the everyday user, whether that's the employees or whether that's students. Have the ability to easily get visibility into your applications and your data. And then, of course, planning and forecasting, right? How is this going to work? What do we need to do moving forward? Create a tool that's going to help you future-proof the applications itself, as well as future-proof your visions moving forward. In the past, and this, you kind of touched on this already, but with the older type of systems that are out there today, it's very, very difficult to keep integrations up and running and up and current. They're costly, they're time-consuming. Every time you upgrade your platform, you also have to consider what that does to my connections to my other data sources, and what's the cost associated to it. If I upgrade, am I going to break it? I don't know. So you have to come up with a methodology behind how we roll something out. And when you do roll something out, it's typically pretty costly to do so, right? Because you have to get IT involved, you have to have the business involved, you have to have multiple sources that own the data involved, and really understand what the cost is associated to that. Our vision is a little more like your mobile phone, whether that's an iPhone or any other smartphone. Why not just have the ability to pick and choose the applications that you want, load them up on your system, and connect? And that's really kind of our vision moving forward, right? So create a number of standard plugins, the ones that everybody uses on a regular basis, integrate with those simply by typing in some configuration parameters, and then activate, right? And we really believe that this is where not only us, but a lot of organizations are going moving forward. Make it easy, make it simple, and of course make it much less expensive to utilize. So the new model really is not necessarily a all-in-one or all-encompassing. It's very much best-in-breed type of a solution. So go find the applications that work best for your business units, integrate them, and put them in a platform that's going to make sense for you. Consider the productivity and optimization side of it, because that's important. Give people the tools that make it easy for them to do their daily work. Don't keep them from having to train on an application. Just make it a simple application for them to get up and running very, very quickly. And then lastly, with the new model that are out there, they're a lot more flexible in what you can do with them, how you can integrate, the data that you can pull, as well as they're a lot less expensive. So those are really the points that I wanted to touch on today. Hopefully that was of value. I'm going to open it up for any questions about anything that I've either covered or questions you might have about anything as far as applications from the past or where we're going in the future.
So how well have you, I mean, from what I understand then, what you're saying is that finding a platform that sort of integrates these different software systems together is sort of the future. One of the big issues I've seen in the past is just getting different software systems to talk to each other has always been the bane of the industry.
Yeah.
Everywhere I've been.
Yeah, you're right. So integrations has always been a challenge. How do you get that data in? What's the common format to be able to do so? And it really, I think it's changed. There's always this standard ways of doing things, right? By doing a SFTP flat file transfer on a periodic basis and bringing data in that way. But with the technology stacks that have been, and the technology that's been developed these days, integrations with those back office applications have become much easier. And that's why you see things like plugins being created, so that you don't have to go through on an annual basis and say, hey, is this still going to work if I change this parameter? Or what do I have to do to get this additional data in, right? So plugins and historical ways of doing it are still going to be significant, but plugins and new technology is going to make it a lot easier. As these platforms develop over time, new technology stacks come out, and anybody that's not an open system is a dying breed at this point. Any other questions? You guys make this too easy. In that case, since it is right before lunch, I'll just give you guys time back. If you have any questions ahead of that, just please feel free to ask me. Thank you guys very much.